Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One. It is Monday, November the 19th, the year 2018. Let's talk trading, weekly open and gap. I didn't get in till late, so we're going to see what's happening with the weekly open and gap here. Just to remind you, it's a holiday week, but that doesn't mean that we can get lax with our money and risk management. So let's look at the weeklies. We've got some opens, some Aussie pairs open still, a euro pair, a couple euro pairs, a couple of pound pairs. In fact, the new beast has a gap here, and the New Zealand pairs gapped. So there's still plenty of opportunity. You just have to decide if you want to take advantage of it. You can see here the euro yen filled the gap. And so far we're up for the week. Looking at the month, you can see here we're past that midpoint by about 5 pips. The aqua dot is the current mid, and the magenta dot is the previous mid. And to show the indicators, it's the TRO mid dots, which it used to just be these two dots, but I've added a bunch of code where you can show the last red-green candle, the previous high-low, which would be used for wick zone breakouts, the central pivot range, the previous quarter, as opposed to the mids. You can show the pivot dots, you can show target dots, and that's what it'll do nowadays. And that's free in the Motherlode download. Okay, so we looked at the monthly now. Once again, the weekly. We're in the upper weekly wick zone. You know what happens in the wick zones. Price doesn't like staying there. And you can see here, you can see that gap down. You can see it broke out the upper, the previous day's high, or previous session's high right there. You can see here it came into the previous session's lower wick zone and then exited to the north. On the ranges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 above 100, and the euro yen kind of an anemic 60 at the moment. Buy zone. Once again, we had the pivot point you can see here was part of the short zone. So that opening trade, you wanted to fade. Okay. But what we had here was, first we had a gap down. So you want to play the gap. You can see here it came up through the buy zone, but should have already been in the trade. And so that would have been a nice trade. On the south side, you see here it clicked in, coming across the weekly open, taking out the pivot on that second hour, and it came back, gave you another opportunity to go short here. Your stop loss got close, but not enough. Here, somewhere down in here, you should have taken profit. Here was a trigger long. And once again, if you stayed in that trade, and even though right here, that was a telltale sign that exit, and here's another one right there, looking at those highs, when it comes across and crosses back down, that's usually a time to take profit off the table. If you didn't, you had a second opportunity here. If you didn't, you would have gotten stopped out if you place your stop here. Next one, entry, once again, pulled back below that high. You could take your pips off the table. If you wanted to, pro traders had another opportunity to jump in here, and there was more profit to be made, but you should have taken it about this level at the worst. So, and it also crossed above the 129 right there, 00. So that would have been another place to take profit on the way down. You can let it go on the way up, but then if it comes back the other way, since you're long, you take the profit. Because if you didn't, then you may have been stopped out again. Rat zone traders, you can see here we put in a high, came out of the red rat zone, dipped in the green rat zone. Last call was 0.66, turned right around and went up. So there was an opportunity. Right now, a Larry live trade, you can be short here at the 186 if price will just pop right back up. Even though we're on a green 15 candle, but the H1 bias is short. Okay, once again, we took out the daily pivot. We took out the weekly pivot right here at 0.49, and it turned around and bounced. And you see it came back to the monthly pivot at 128.94, weekly R1, 129.49. And we still have 2 missed pivots here, and looks like this will be the next pivot to be taken out if price continues. Price action, lots of price action. Okay, right here you can see we had a 1 ball. We had a green at the line. It was 20 pips away. If you took that trigger long, you probably got stopped out. Nothing. This is trading, okay, but we still have a 1 ball at the bottom. And if you came back here, a green at the line, you would have made a profit. 3 ball red at the line, even though this is a pro trade, not beginning trader. And I need to change this to give some more buying and selling. I'll do that. And we got the 1 ball looking green at the line. That's a pro trade. So right now we're pretty much just waiting to see price turn around. Price at the line, candle color, going with the candle color, H1 candle color at the line. You can see what happens. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why the colors change, if the ticks go up, then it's green. If the ticks come down, it turns red. So you can just know which way price is moving tick-wise. And wick zones, price doesn't like staying in the wick zone. So you can see here in and out, back in, back out, back in, back out, back in, out, etc. The Holo Setup. Okay, let's turn that back to M15. Okay. Oh, and for those of you wondering how I just did this, if you drag the mouse over here, hold down the left mouse button. If you pull it down, you can see it scrunches, and if you take it up, it expands. Okay, so we had a holo trigger right here. So price went in, put in a new high, came out right here, and there was almost, 25, 30 pips or so. We can drag and see, 24 pips. Actually, no, it's more than that. That's just to the line. You can see here, it's almost 30 pips, 29. So there was a nice trade potential. And you can see here, it popped through here. And what do you have here? You have some lower wicks, price coming back up through them. Just take the profit off the table. I mean, that may have happened right here too. Price could have come this way and come back out. You would have triggered. You still would have had a nice profit. Don't be greedy. You know, I talked about trading what you feel. I guess that I'm going to call that empathetic trading because you have empathy, with the market. And so if you're, watching the screen and you start to feel something, see if your feelings are really reflect the market. But don't think, you have to see, you have to feel. There's a big difference. Notice if the market's going up, how you feel. Notice how you feel when the market's going down. It just might be something you can use. You can see here we had a long trigger on the inventory reduction bar. Nice trade. We have a short trigger here, and you can see price is getting ready to go back up. And then if it turns around, a red candle, you can take it the other way. Maybe I should put the multimeter here. There must have been a reason I didn't do it. And one of my favorite screens is just using the previous daily, weekly, monthly, open, high, and low, and just trading with candle color at the line. And as you can see here, we're not having much movement every time we get a sell signal. So just going between selling and waiting. Just it's basically, when you see this, it's probably more accumulation than anything. But when you see this number, the pips, since we had a sell signal, that tells you that the market's moving. You can see here, kind of looking choppy, On the Einstein line, you can see here, as of, there was a short trigger. You see we're right back here. Take another short. But once again, on the Einstein line, until you get a nice clean break, you can see it's just going to chop, chop, chop. And there we go, Larry live trade. And it's already moving. But that should wrap it up. So remember, there's still plenty of gaps that haven't filled, especially on the new beast, the pound New Zealand. So you might want to check that one out. Can't guarantee it's going to work, but that's trading. Just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So this holiday week, Thanksgiving week, drain the banks.